What's going on, everybody? Welcome. So, I guess we all know what happened. It's in the news. Yesterday, Nipsey Hussle, California native rapper, was shot and killed in front of his store, and we lost a good one. I've never met Nipsey Hussle. I know his music. I never met him in person, never seen him in person, none of that. But you know how you can tell when someone is a good person? Like you get that vibe, like, okay, this person is a good person. I got that from him. He was one of the good ones that we have in hip hop, that we have in our community as black people. He was one of them good ones. And there's two things that bother me. The first and main thing is that the first thing that bothered me is his wife is now husbandless, and his daughter is now fatherless. That is the first and main thing that bothers me. Like, just it hurts, because when you kill somebody, you don't realize how much pain you have caused when you take someone's life. When you take someone's life, you don't realize repercussions of that action. Now there's a little girl who doesn't have a father anymore. I know how that feels. I personally know how that feels to have a parent killed and you're young when it happens. I know my father was killed when I was 8 years old. So it hits deeper with me on that. And I've seen how it affected my mother and everybody, how it affected my grandmother and my aunts and uncles and my cousins. I saw firsthand as a little boy the effect of having a loved one taken from you like that. I know firsthand how that feels, and that it is a pain. It is a pain that if you never experienced that, I can't even describe to you. It's a pain it gets you. It's deeper than you realize. The second thing that bothers me about this is it's another black man gone over some BS. Another black man has been taken out of this world over some BS. And then I have to ask the question now, what more do you want a black man to do? Like, what more can a black man do? See, being black and being a black man in America, there's a lot of wars that we have to fight that many people won't understand. Many people won't understand the different wars that we have to fight as black men in America. One of those fights we have to have is the so-called keeping it real, which basically means when you come from a community that expect things of you, and if you come from an impoverished community, a harsh community where you live in a neighborhood where you don't know who's going to do you harm, and if you part of the gang culture, which he was, there are rules to that culture that, it's a lot to go with it. I don't speak on that. But when you come from a place that's impoverished, and you are one of the few that have that spark, that gift, and that drive to get out of that impoverished situation, and you do that, right? Then you have another fight where when you are amongst an impoverished group of people, you are seen as the savior for the entire group. In no other place or society you have where one person is responsible for saving millions. Most cultures don't do that. It's usually the group saves the individual, not the individual save the group. But when you live in that particular environment where you are basically the savior of the group, right? And you are one of those enlightened ones. You are, as Tupac says, the rose that grew from concrete. You are that rose that grew from the concrete, and you make it out. You make it out of the hood, and you are successful in your endeavors when you make it out of the hood. And your people want you to come back. Your people want you to come back and give back to the community. Share with the community. Basically, come back and save the community. Right? And if you don't come back and save the community, your own people will ridicule you, they will chastise you, they will degrade you, they will disrespect you, they will, talk bad about you, they'll ruin your reputation, insult you and your family. They don't care who they harm. They just will do all they can to make you feel like a piece of crap for leaving out of this bad neighborhood. To the point where they will even kill you. There are times where your own people will be your worst enemy and they will kill you for leaving out of the hood and never coming back. Right? So here we have someone makes it out of the hood and they make their money. They're rich, they're famous, all that stuff. They come back to the hood. And not only do they come back to the hood, but the same neighborhoods that produce this individual, he makes sure that they have what they need to better themselves. We have a term in the black community called buy back the block, which pretty much means all of these dilapidated buildings, these decrepit buildings that are around the projects can be used for something positive instead of something negative. Nipsey Hussle comes back to his own neighborhood. He literally buys back the block. He actually takes his money and he physically buys back the block. All those buildings that were just down and decrepit and all that stuff, he brings them back up and he actually saves his community. He brings jobs to his community. He brings life back into his community. He does all of that only for him to be killed in his own community. Not only that, he was killed in front of his own building. If that was a part of the block that he literally bought. He literally bought back the block. And he was killed in front of his own property. They say he was shot 6 times. One of those shots were to the head. Like, damn. What more does a black man have to do to get some respect in his own home? Like what else do you need to do? A black man will get chastised for dating or marrying outside of his race. He has a black wife. Black men have a black wife, black children. All of that. A black man will get chastised for leaving his own hood and not doing anything for it. He leaves his own hood. He comes back, does major things for his own hood, the hood that he literally grew up in. Do all of that and still get killed by his own people in his own neighborhood in front of his own stores that he employed the neighborhood to. Like that pisses me off, cause like, what more does a black man have to do to get some respect in his own home? What more he got to do? And then people wonder why when black people make money that they don't come back to. If they come from an impoverished neighborhood and they make money and they get out, they don't ever come back. This is why black men and black women don't come back to the hood. This is why. Because when they do, you run a chance of this happening to you. So now, a wife loses her husband, a daughter loses her father, and the community loses his leader. So what's the community going to do now? Now you actually killed your possible way out. He was the key. He was one of the keys that you had in the neighborhood to get out. And his own killed him. Now, I know there are speculations about other things, and I won't get into that out of respect for him and his family. I have my own personal thoughts on that I won't share here. But what I will share is, what more? What else do you want a black man to do? What else do you want him to do? What more can he do? What else you want? Huh? What else you want? You can't do no more. Like, he did everything step by step, by the book. Everything you want a black man to do in his own community, he did it. Line for line, word for word, step by step. Textbook, as they say. And he still died in his own community? Sad, man. Sad. All I can say is my condolences to his family. You know, rest in peace to him and his family. Damn, we gotta do better. Peace.